Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden and it's November 1st and up in Connecticut, it's absolutely freezing. So for those wondering, that's why the hood's on. You know, I know I probably look like a bum right now, but it is so cold and we have not turned on the heat yet, so I am freezing my gentleman's parts off. But today we're going to be going over a good, the bad, and the ugly on the Eclipse 3rd generation, or commonly known as the 3G Eclipse. This is the Spider, you know, well, everyone had an Eclipse Spider, but it's the Eclipse Spider, you know what I'm talking about. It's the one that the guy drove in Fast and the Furious, the purple Eclipse. What was his name? The black guy, what was his name? Roman? I think it's Roman. I don't know. You know who I'm talking about, though. It's that one. And the way that these videos work, in case you're new here, is first I go over everything that you need to know about the car. That's like years made, engines, all that stuff. Then I go over what the community usually does with it when modifying it, and then I go over the good, the bad, and the ugly, which we'll talk about when we get there. And then at the very end of the video, I give you my thoughts on whether or not I think you should buy it, depending on what situation that you're currently in. But without further ado, let's go right into the good, the bad, and the ugly on the Mitsubishi Eclipse 3G. Alright, so like I said, first up is everything that you need to know about the car. What are the factoids about this car, Mark? What are the factoids? Well, first off, the years made and the generation. It was made from 1999 to 2005, and it's the 3rd generation of the Mitsubishi Eclipse, which is why it's called the 3G all the time. For the trim levels, there's a lot of them, but they all pretty much share the same motor. So let's go over those real quick. First off is the RS, the GS, and the GS Spider are all come with a 2.4 liter inline 4, making 154 horsepower. That is the worst option. Next is the GT and the GT Spider, which comes with a 3 liter V6 that makes 200 horsepower, which is pretty decent actually for its time. And then finally is the GTS and the GTS Spider, which comes with the same 3 liter V6, but now it makes 210 horsepower. So obviously that's the best one, but honestly 10 horsepower gain is not that big of a difference anyway. So if it's more expensive to buy a GTS over a GT, I would just go with the GT. In terms of the body styles, the car is available as a coupe or a convertible. Obviously the convertible options are the Spider trim levels, and everything else is just a coupe. For the drivetrains, it is front wheel drive only. There is no all wheel drive or rear wheel drive. It's just a front wheel drive car. In terms of the transmissions, it is offered with both the automatic and the manual transmissions. Obviously it's a early 2000s car, so the automatic transmission is pretty useless, so definitely go with the manual if you're looking for something fun and fast. In terms of the price, obviously they're used cars. They're not that popular in today's car scene, so their prices are actually pretty low. You can find them as low as, and I mean this seriously, $1,000 if you don't mind having like a 200,000 mile car, or they go up to like $5,000. I really don't think I've seen ever a 3G Eclipse over 5K though. They're dirt cheap. In terms of the reliability, goodness gracious, and the gas mileage, the cars, no matter what motor option you get, are decently reliable and they get decent gas mileage. Nothing great, but nothing bad either. But like I said, now we're into what the community does. What do they do with them? What does the community do with these cars? Well, let's go over them. For drifting, obviously they're never seen. They're a front-wheel drive car. It's almost impossible to drift front-wheel drive cars reliably. It's not going to happen. In terms of rally/off-road builds, also not seen very often here, but I'm sure that it's been done once or twice before. But I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't count on making the best rally car out of a Eclipse. For the street builds, you know, your boys that just want a good combo of everything, yeah, they're quite popular for this due to its decent reliability and well handling, but they're not that competitive. A lot of people do build them for, you know, street types of builds. They make supercharger kits and stuff like that for the V6s. So they, you know, there's definitely people out there that have done it, but again, it's just not the most popular street car out there. In terms of track racing, it's probably its most popular form of motorsports. But however, it still doesn't really be seen that often, which should kind of tell you something. These cars are not really used that much in terms of any motorsports out there. But it doesn't mean that they're a bad option. It just means that people don't want to use them because there are a lot of better options. For stance/show, any sort of like show cars or whatever, yeah, people do it, but again, not that much. I do think eventually they'll be, you know, bought up more frequently and people will start modifying these cars more often. But as of right now, they really just don't, you know, they're not that popular in the community. But now we are into the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the way this works, in case you're new here, is first I go over the good. These are things that are just great about the car, and it's hard to deny that they're amazing. Next, I go over the bad, which are kind of just take it or leave it things. If it affects you, then it's a bad thing. If it doesn't affect you, then who cares? And then finally, I go over the ugly, which are problems with the car that you're going to have to address and are 100% an issue. But we're going to start with the good, and first up is they are dirt cheap. Like I said, $1,000 like that's really cheap in today's market. It's hard to find like Accords and Camrys and Corollas for $1,000, and you can find these, which are kind of like sports cars and kind of cool looking for like around that range. Now, I'm not saying you should buy the $1,000 one, but I'm just saying that they can be found. Next is the inline 4 is great on gas, very reliable and easy to work on. There really is no downside to the inline 4 except for the power. It doesn't have good power potential. It doesn't have good power out of the gate. If you want a faster one, get the V6, but if you're just looking for like a daily driver that looks pretty decent, the inline 4 is really good for you. Next is the interior. For the time it was made is kind of ahead of its time, to be honest. I've been in one of these. My friend John has one, and I was in the passenger seat, and dude, the interior, it does not seem like a 2000s car at all. It's really nice. Next is they have a damn sunroof, which is always amazing. You know, I love sunroofs. I feel like some people don't like them because they can leak, and so that kind of like, you know, adds some unnecessary stress. But I don't know. I think overall a sunroof is just a good bonus. Next is it has tons of aftermarket support. It doesn't have the most in terms of performance mods because it isn't modified heavily, but in terms of its like exterior mods, you got a lot to choose from. It's a Japanese car. Almost every Japanese car has tons of aftermarket support. Next is parts for the inline 4 are very cheap, and the V6 is also pretty decently cheap. They're both they were mass produced cars. There's tons of them out there. There's parts for them everywhere. Next is even though the car is heavy, they do handle quite well. I mean, they're not the best. They're okay. There's a reason why most people buy the 2nd generation Eclipse over the 3rd gen, but it doesn't mean it's awful. And finally, for the good is I honestly believe these things will go up for price in the future. It's kind of a gamble. You never really know. You know, these cars could just sit at what they are and never rise up in price, but I think they're an underappreciated sports car right now, and I think eventually they're going to rise. So if you do buy one, you can look at it as an investment if you want, and just keep it stock, and over time it should make you more money. Again, that's a gamble. It could even go worse. You know, it could go the opposite direction. But I think, you know, just because of Japanese cars and how popular they are in general, that eventually is going to happen. But now let's get into the bad. And again, these are not things that are actually bad. They're just things that kind of, it depends on whether or not it affects you. Okay, so, you know, it could be bad, but it could be great. Who knows? First up, I always put the sound clip first to let people decide whether or not they think the sound is good or not. So I put it in the bad. So here you go. Next up is sadly they don't have the best tuning potential compared to the 2G GT. The 2G Eclipse came with a watered down version of the Evo motor, and it was just incredible for building power. It still is incredible for building power, and they just don't have that in this 3G. I know some 3G guys are gonna be like, oh no, that's not true. I've beaten so many 2G Eclipses before. That's fine, but dude, I mean, facts don't lie. The 4G 63 is just, it's a great motor, and this car just doesn't really have that level. Next is, it is quite heavy for an Eclipse of the time. Like I said before, you know, they do handle quite well, even though they are pretty heavy, but at the same time, they are pretty heavy. Next is they're not that popular at all, so it's underrated. Again, this is a good thing or a bad thing depending on the type of person you are. If you are the person that wants a big community and like socializing and stuff like that, it's a bad thing. If you're the person that likes to have the underrated cars and likes to be the one that sticks out from the crowd, then it's a good thing. Next is the community is very small, but they stick together. That's another very good thing in my opinion, but some people could definitely say like, I don't like that. If you want a larger community, again, not the car for you. Next is the sunroof does seem to have some problems. I looked up some forums on common problems with the 3G Eclipse, and a lot of people were saying sunroofs. As long with the sunroof leaking, the roof seals also leak. So that's, you know, just any sort of seal that's like your doors, the trunk, the windows, stuff like that. Those seals, they do tend to leak. I really honestly think that's just because of old age, because a lot of cars do that that are older now, but who knows? Maybe it's a factory issue. Next is the car is front wheel drive only. Better on gas, I guess, but most people would, I think, rather have rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive at this point. Next is visibility is actually kind of bad. Again, this is based off my opinion because I was in one. I never actually have owned one, but based off of when I was sitting in it, it did not it was kind of hard to see things, and I found that kind of weird. You would expect it to be much better than it actually is. Next is the V6 can be tough to work on for newcomers. it's really cramped in the engine bay. We did a radiator, which is one of the easiest jobs. 2 Dukes is right in the front. It's not even crammed in the engine, and even that was a pain on this car. So it's just like it's gonna be tight if you're a newcomer. And finally, for the bad, is the cup holders are not the best. They're not. I mean, I just gotta say it. It's a 2000 sports car. The cup holders are kind of small. But now we're into the ugly, my friends, and these are the things that are just bad about the car you're gonna have to address at some point. And first up is the automatic transmissions in these cars suck. It's an old, well, it's pretty old Japanese tuner car. Do not buy the automatic. If you want a fast, responsive driving experience with this car, stay away from that. Next for the ugly is there's tons of random wiring issues that many early Japanese cars have, so I hate holding it against it, but I kind of have to. Things like the headlights, speakers, and all kinds of wiring things just go wrong in this car, and trust me, that is so annoying and can be something you want to steer clear from if you're new to cars, 100%. I didn't know anything about wiring, and luckily I had a father who is a mechanic, and when I bought my 350Z, it had so many wiring issues, and even it was a nightmare for him, and he does that for a living, and he's one of the best he is the best mechanic I've ever seen, and he still had trouble with it. Like, stay away from wiring if you're new to cars. It is just a absolute nightmare, and this car does seem to have some sort of wiring issues. Now, it's not confirmed. It's not like people are out there going, this car has so many wiring issues, but based off of what I was looking at, a lot of electronics seem to go in this car. Headlights, lights, all these sensors and stuff like that, they just go. And it's just that typically points to wiring issues. And finally, for the ugly, is the fact that these cars are just not that fast, man. I know it's stupid because you can always modify cars and not everybody's looking for the fastest car out there, and 200 horsepower in the 2000s is more than my Integra, 140 horsepower, but it is just not the best for racing, and we all want that when buying a sports car, but it's not going to really fulfill that. Now, if you're on the spectrum where you don't really care whether or not it's a 100% race car and you just want something that looks pretty decent but is also fun to drive, then it's a great option. But if you're actually looking for like an actual tuner sports car type of thing, no. But now my final thoughts. I'm going to tell you whether or not I think you should get it depending on the situation that we're in, where you have 4 situations: daily driver, car guy daily drivers, which are massively different from just a regular person's daily driver, Sunday cruisers, and race cars / project car. But let's talk about daily driver. It's not bad, but I think if you just need a really cheap daily and you really do not care whether or not it's cool and it's fast or whatever, just buy a Civic or a Camry. There really is no better option than those two. Like, it just go with it, dude. It works for a reason. As for a car guy daily driver, however, not bad again, but again, I do think there are some better options for you. It is a pretty decent one because, again, since it doesn't have the big tunability, you won't feel pressured into buying like race car parts with it. So, maybe you'll just keep it relatively stock and you won't spend all your money, because that's one of car guys' biggest problems. They buy a daily, but then they don't keep it stock, and then they need a new daily for their old daily. This car you might not have that issue with, because you might not be like that tempted to buy new parts. But again, if you were just looking for a daily driver as a car guy, dude, I think there are definitely a couple of better options out there. Sunday cruisers, it's okay for it. I believe these will rise in price eventually, like I said before, so it does make sense why you would want to take care of it. However, I really don't see the point in only taking a Mitsubishi Eclipse out on Sundays. I feel like those are cars that could easily be driven all day throughout the week, and you'll be okay with that. In terms of race cars / project cars, this would be super sick to see, but sadly, it really isn't seen that much, so I can't give you really my honest opinion on this one. It's kind of tough to judge if this is a good race car / project car, because just not a lot of people do it. Maybe not a lot of people do it, and there's a reason for that. Maybe not a lot of people do it just because everybody else doesn't do it, and so they don't want to be the first ones to do it. I don't know, but it's just I don't see it a lot, so I can't really recommend doing it. However, it would be really cool to see like a Mitsubishi Eclipse like hill climb car. That would be sick. Look at that. The hood's off. How did that happen? I don't know. It got warmer somehow. Maybe it's because of the talking and my cameras. I don't know. Maybe it's the electricity coursing through the air. Who knows? But the hood's off. Okay. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. Let me know what other good, bad, and uglies you want to see. I say this at the end of all my good, bad, and uglies, but I feel like people do not understand it yet. I only do good, bad, and uglies on cars that you guys recommend. I never just go, I'm going to do a good, bad, and ugly on this car and do it. No, I only look at the comments of the previous good, bad, and ugly and pick one of those cars. People want to see the BRZ. That's probably going to be pretty soon. But let me know what other ones you want to see. If you want to, now, if it's a very weird, out there car that I've never even heard of before, or that I don't think is going to do good for my channel, because guys, you got to understand, this is my job, then I most likely won't do it. But for the most part, if you leave a comment down below saying what car you want to see in a good, bad, and ugly, I'll at least take it into consideration. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.